Is this the episode where Fear the Walking Dead went completely woke? Welcome back to Fog Entertainment, and we are here with Fear the Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 5. Is this where the line got completely crossed? Personally, no. I think the show got more completely and utterly woke later on. Oh, I say later on, earlier on in this show. I mean, honestly, this show came out in 2015, 2016, around that time period. The world by then, it was done. It was turned. The turn had went. Donald Trump was running for president back then, and that is when the world completely went, you know what? We gotta do not to get this guy in the White House. And media flipped. You compare and contrast with the original Walking Dead of like 2010. The Walking Dead was not woke. You had the men going out in the group doing what had to be done. You had the women staying in the group cleaning and cooking, and that had to be done. Fast forward 5 years, the men are weak and the women are strong. And in this episode we see Maggie Grace character's Al get close with Isabel, right? CRM soldier. But before we even dive in to all that, you know what the weirder thing is for me? Maggie Grace was in Lost. And yeah, honestly man, I actually couldn't really believe this when I seen it. And the only reason I seen it is because I was scrolling through TikTok earlier, and it was like Lost characters then and now, and I was obviously going through like Matthew Fox, Terry O'Quinn, people like that, and I was like, alright. Then it said like Maggie Grace then 2004, and I was like, I know that name. And then it said now, and then it was like her with the short hair, and it's like, I think I don't know what age Maggie Grace is. She must be like what, mid-40s, early 40s, something like that. But jeez oh folks, looked so much better with the blonde hair. I'm actually kind of in disbelief that she would even shave it all off. And it's weird to think, like, because when she died and Lost, it was, that's like what, 19 years ago. She got, I mean for people who didn't watch Lost or intend to watch Lost, spoiler alert, but it's weird to think that Michelle Rodriguez shot her in season 2. Lost is such a weird show. I've only watched it once, but it's one of those shows I think you need to watch about 5,000 times just to grasp what's even going on. It's very confusing. But here, but it's one of those shows, like, you watch it the second time and like, stuff would make more sense, but at the same time, the cat's at the bag, so much about the island, because obviously. But anyway, yeah, I would recommend watching Lost. But From's also a good TV show. But back to Maggie Grace, and here, it's a lesbian relationship between two women. It's not the most, it's woke because it feels so forced. Like the whole line from Isabel, like, I've been out here and I found the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, and then kisses her. It's like, what? It wasn't like gradually they fell in love with each other. It was like at the end of the day, I found the most beautiful. And yeah, last season did we see June and John Dory do a similar thing? Absolutely. But I think it was just so much better. Well done. It was. It really, really was. And it's like, as the seasons have went on, you see that these two actually care for each other. Now, I'll admit, I don't know what happens in Fear, but I did click and it said that Isabel is the current girlfriend of Al, and she's still alive. I don't know if Al's still alive, but for me this was just woke and so forced, man. A full episode dedicated to these two. And that's Fear's problem. It copied The Walking Dead's gimmick of, we've got established characters, so that means they can dedicate full episodes to them. No. Even in The Walking Dead, that's when that dropped off, and they actually have the characters, to do standalone episodes. If Rick gets an episode to himself of, Daryl and Carol get an episode to themselves, I mean, that can work, because that's Daryl and Carol. That's Rick. Glenn, Maggie, Negan, Al, for Fear, can absolutely not get an episode dedicated to herself. And it's no wonder that the ratings for this episode are shit, and people who love the show rated it poorly. It's woke, but if you're woke, you'll love it. You'll be like, so empowering. Like, could you imagine in the original Walking Dead, in season 5, they dedicated a whole relationship to two lesbian lovers, when you're in the middle of like Terminus and the termites and getting to Alexandria? It was so forced, man. So forced upon belief. But anyway, that's where we're going to leave it. To me, this wasn't the line that was crossed. I think it was already woke before here, but it's just one of those like lines that was, it's been crossed upon belief.